Step into the most intimate refuge of your life and discover it has been transformed into a sterile testing chamber designed for your undoing. You believed you were participating in something sacred, but the narcissist was running a ruthless trial in emotional extraction. Today, we are drawing back the thick velvet drapes to reveal 8 distorted behaviors these predators secretly hunger for, not out of desire, but from a pathological urge to possess your essence. This is the forbidden knowledge no one wants to expose in daylight. Why do you feel so deeply hollow after an experience meant to feel loving? Because you were never cherished. You were drained by an entity with no pulse of its own. Have you ever felt that eerie sense that you are being observed by a stranger, even while wrapped in your partner's arms? The narcissist does not meet your gaze to connect with your soul. They analyze your face like a hunter assessing prey, searching for the precise second your defenses soften so they can inject their darkness into the opening. The haunting question we answer today is what truly occurs behind closed doors that leaves you feeling erased. Stay with me, because we are about to uncover the blueprint of their sexual warfare and explain why your empathy is the weapon they aim to turn against your sanity. Imagine someone who isn't interested in your money or belongings, but in your emotional energy and sense of self. That is how a narcissist often approaches intimacy. They may present it as love, while quietly using the experience to undermine your confidence and self-worth. They rely on your natural desire for closeness. But once intimacy begins, something subtle shifts. Emotionally, they disconnect. They remain physically present, yet detached, observing rather than connecting. You may find yourself giving warmth and care to someone who feels strangely empty and unresponsive, leaving you drained rather than fulfilled. Instead of mutual affection, the experience feels one-sided and hollow. Damn many survivors describe an uncomfortable emotional drop afterward, as if warmth is suddenly replaced with distance. One moment there is affection, the next there is distraction, checking a phone, turning away, or becoming cold. This change is not accidental. It signals a lack of genuine engagement. Once the narcissist feels they have received what they wanted, your presence may feel inconvenient to them. You remind them of the emotional depth they struggle to access themselves. Narcissists are often drawn to empathic partners because of their emotional openness. But once that moment passes, they may detach quickly, showing little concern for the impact. This emotional withdrawal often happens in the very space where safety and connection should exist most. This is a record of a soul robbery, and the first warped behavior they crave is performance. The narcissist is not present with you. They are observing themselves through an internal mirror. The bedroom becomes a stage where they play the lead role, and you are merely a prop designed to applaud. They need to believe they are the most exceptional lover you've ever known, not for your fulfillment, but to feed their ego. If you fail to provide the standing ovation they feel owed, punishment follows in the form of icy withdrawal or explosive anger. You are not a partner. You are a captive audience forced to validate an empty illusion. Their pleasure comes from your admiration, not from connection. The second twisted behavior is intentional withholding, a tactic of sexual deprivation used to keep you trapped in anxious attachment. By offering intimacy and then cruelly retracting it, the narcissist turns you in to a lab animal pressing a lever for reward. They want your desperation. They want you doubting your desirability and value. This has nothing to do with desire levels. Withholding conditions your nervous system to crave their approval, locking you into the trauma bond, endlessly waiting for scraps of the affection that once ensnared you. Dumb den. Third on the list of distorted cravings is triangulation. The narcissist secretly longs for a third presence in the intimate space, whether through a screen, tales of former lovers, or overt comparisons. They want you trapped in a rivalry you can never win. By introducing another energy, they annihilate safety and intimacy. They feed on the tension of your jealousy and insecurity. It makes them feel omnipotent to have multiple people competing for their attention. They siphon the charged energy of your pain to inflate their grandiose self-image. The fourth behavior is objectification. The moment they strip you of humanity and reduce you to a biological tool. They crave degrading a high vibration empath because it gives them a false sense of dominance over the goodness you embody. They may pressure you into acts that violate your spirit simply to see if you will abandon your own values for them. If they succeed, your autonomy is erased. In their eyes, you cease to be a person and become an extension of their dysfunction, a canvas for their decay. They want to watch the healer sink into the filth of the narcissist's emptiness. Do not turn away now, because we are about to expose the fifth and sixth behaviors narcissists use to anchor their darkness into your psyche. You will see why they are addicted to dissolving boundaries and why counterfeit vulnerability is their most lethal tactic. This knowledge will help you permanently seal the gateway to your energy. You are not needy for craving genuine connection. You are human, but you have been offering gold to someone who only recognizes lead. We will show you how to identify the leak and reclaim your body as restricted airspace for predators. The haze is lifting and the truth will sting. This chapter is your refuge of awareness. Understand this, the shame you feel afterward is not yours. It belongs to the thief. The narcissist transferred their internal shame into you during the act, leaving you burdened while they walked away unscathed. Today, we return that poison to its source. As we move into the psychological breakdown, remember, your empathy is a superpower, but every power requires defenses. We are building those defenses now, until the ghost beside you can no longer touch you. To grasp why narcissists crave these acts, you must descend into the hollow basement of their psyche. A narcissist is someone whose inner core died early in life, leaving them unable to generate warmth or self-worth. They are sirens of biology, luring empathic souls onto the rocks to steal their cargo. When they hunger for these acts, they are seeking an energy exchange, your charged spirit for their lifeless one. This is why your exhaustion afterward feels so deep. You have been drained by a starving apparition. Symbolically, the narcissist is a shadow attempting to swallow a sun. They are addicted to the sensation they get from proximity to a high vibration person because it makes them feel alive for fleeting moments. But with no internal container to hold that energy, it dissipates instantly. This is why boredom or hostility sets in so fast after the act. They are like an addict who has just had a fix and is already desperate for the next. They don't want you. They want the borrowed energy that lets them pretend they have a soul for one more night. They are parasites feeding on your light. Their fifth secret craving is boundary erosion, a strategic assault on your self-respect. Slowly and deliberately, They will push past limits you have clearly stated, often cloaking the violation in humor or false affection. They want to see your no-bend fracture and disappear into a hesitant maybe, and eventually into a reluctant yes. Each time you surrender, the narcissist receives a surge of omnipotent pleasure. They have confirmed that your limits are negotiable and that their desires outrank your will. This is the psychological occupation of the empath. By dismantling your boundaries in intimacy, they make it effortless to dismantle your identity everywhere else. The sixth distorted behavior they crave is fabricated vulnerability. But, dearie, they may stage a sudden emotional breakdown or reveal a carefully timed tale of past trauma just before or during intimacy. This is the ultimate snare. They understand your empathic nature cannot ignore suffering. They engineer a counterfeit bond to lower your defenses. It is a cinematic illusion designed to convince you that you are the only one who truly sees them. But it is a setup. The moment you reveal yourself, they archive that information as ammunition for later destruction. Your compassion becomes a crowbar they use to pry open your soul for one final extraction. Imagine a radio that can only rebroadcast signals it steals because it has no original frequency of its own. The narcissist lacks an inner signal, so they mimic your passion and language to manufacture a false connection. This is intermittent reinforcement at the chemical level. Your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and the narcissist exploits it to forge a trauma bond that masquerades as fate. But the bond exists only on your side. On theirs, it is a transactional agreement of exploitation. They charge you for the attention they offer, and the cost is your mental equilibrium. In every encounter, they exchange their lead for your gold. Their seventh craving is ritualized degradation. They hunger for the sensation of dragging a high-worth person into low self-perception. They may deploy subtle insults masked as advice or sexual language that feels cruel rather than playful. They want to watch the brightness fade from your eyes. They want you to absorb their projection of being unworthy or tainted. By diminishing you, they momentarily escape the crushing gravity of their own self-loathing. They unload their decay into your clarity, siphoning your dignity to seal the fractures in their shattered ego. It is a cycle of psychic contamination that leaves you weighed down. The eighth and most disturbing act is the post-intimacy discard. The instant they vanish emotionally while your body still carries warmth. They crave the dominance of proving you are nothing to them once they are satisfied. This is their final declaration of control. They want to watch you reach for a connection they have already severed. Each time they push you off a psychological cliff. They thrive on the contrast between closeness and aftermath because it reassures them they control the narrative while you are merely a passenger in their darkness. Return once more. The narcissist uses you as a reflective surface to admire a godlike image of themselves. During intimacy, your gaze of devotion is the supply they crave most. But the moment the act ends, the mirror loses its purpose. They turn it away with a chill that feels like death. This is why your emotions are discarded so quickly. You have fulfilled your function, and now you are excess debris in their chamber of shadows. Mutuality is impossible for someone consumed by worship of their own reflection. Blent, the narcissist is a frequency parasite that scrambles your internal signal. They condition you to experience pleasure only through their validation, which they ration like a weapon. By alternating between access and denial, they reduce you to pleading for your own affection. This biological grooming is the most terrifying element of the sexual Cold War. They are reprogramming your brain to crave the predator. Even in their absence, your body aches for the dose only they once supplied. They seize control of your biology to guarantee psychological collapse. They design the architecture of your inner prison. This breakdown exposes the pathology of the role you have been forced to play. You are confronting a malfunctioning machine that imitates humanity to harvest energy. The bond you felt was real, but only for you. The narcissist was executing a script to extract your light. As the turning point approaches, we witness what happens when the empath awakens mid-program. The plot twists when the host stops feeding the system. Power begins to shift the instant you recognize the theft. The predator senses. The moment of awakening arrives when you understand that the silence after intimacy is not peace. It is indifference. For years, you justified their coldness until clarity snaps into place. You look beside you and realize no one is home. You see the vacancy where a soul should reside. This is the psychological reversal. You stop reaching, you start observing. In a single quiet breath, the balance flips. You no longer respond to the void. You stop trying to fill emptiness. The empath becomes a witness to the predator's hollowness. Watch the panic rise when intimacy no longer produces your compliance. They feel the energetic withdrawal instantly. Your body remains, but your essence has exited. You no longer plead. You no longer ache when they turn away. This absence of reaction detonates their ego. They are suffocating without the oxygen of your turmoil. The remote control to your nervous system is gone. The hunter freezes before a statue. They are losing the only thing that ever empowered them: your attention. Inner sovereignty. You realize your body is sovereign land occupied for too long by an invader. Truth ignites a cold, steady fury. You reclaim the sanctuary. The next time they seek entry, they encounter a frequency they cannot interpret. You are neutral. You are precise. You are unreachable. Manipulation ricochets off your indifference. You reverse the discard. You become unavailable. Now the predator starves, confused by prey that has already departed. Their grooming tactics begin to fail catastrophically. They attempt love bombing to reboot the cycle, but you see the circuitry. They shame you for being distant, and you accept it calmly. Yes, I am cold, and this full acceptance is their undoing. Gaslighting collapses when truth is spoken plainly. They scramble to restart your dependency, but the power source is gone. You resonate at a frequency of freedom that poisons the predator. In your stillness, they short circuit. The twist deepens. They begin to resent intimacy because it no longer controls you. If it does not produce submission, it is useless. They may withhold it as a final punishment, but you have outgrown the trap. You welcome the space. You embrace the silence. This inversion shatters the trauma bond. They rage at emptiness, trying to summon chaos where peace now lives. They are obsolete. You are sovereign. The machine has broken, and the captive is walking toward the exit. The predator is left alone with the reverberations of their own deception, grasping for one last desperate hoover through manufactured crisis or feigned collapse. They are testing whether your empathy still functions. They want to drag you back into the caretaker role, but you now assess the crisis with the detachment of a coroner. Oh, you're ill. Contact a physician. Oh, you're distressed. call a therapist. By removing yourself from the healer position, you have effectively ended the relationship. The narcissist is now starving in plain sight. They are revealed as a frightened, dependent child wearing an adult body. The illusion of the dark ruler dissolves into the odor of desperation. You are no longer the nurse tending their fractured psyche. You are free. Notice how the energetic signature of the bedroom changes. It is no longer a war zone. It has become an archive of something dead. You stand in this space and feel absolutely nothing. This complete indifference is the final verdict. The narcissist senses the emptiness and it activates their annihilation terror. They feel erased because you are no longer witnessing them. They retaliate with a malignant discard, but the discard becomes your liberation. You receive it like a winning ticket. You walk away and never glance back. The once great lover is reduced to a minor error in your timeline. The light returns. This is a psychological recalibration. You forgive yourself for being human and wanting to love. You release the shame that was injected into you. You understand your body was never tainted. It was merely used by something corrupt. And now that corruption has been removed, you feel a clean internal heat ignite. Healing is happening at the cellular level. The trauma bond dissolves like fog under sunlight. You recognize the relationship as a dark initiation that forced you to claim your strength. You honor the pain for the power it forged. The empath becomes the alchemist, transforming the narcissist's lead into sovereign gold. This is full detachment. You now perceive the narcissist as data, not a person. They are a symptom of a diseased system. You feel a distant clinical pity for the phantom they have become. The shift is complete. You inhabit your own life with a force that unsettles the weak. You are luminous. You are grounded. You are home. The power transfer is finalized. You hold authority now. The narcissist is reduced to background static in a silent universe. Your soul has been reclaimed and sealed. The predator is gone, and the sanctuary is finally yours. As collapse begins, remember, the narcissist requires your reflection to feel real. By withdrawing the mirror, you have erased them from your reality. Panic will follow. They will torch their own life for attention. But you are no longer the rescuer. You observe the fire from higher ground, secure in sovereignty. We now witness the complete internal collapse of the abuser as they grasp that the empath they exploited is permanently and beautifully free. The eight twisted acts no longer function. The predator has hit the ground. The ending is ruthless. The implosion of the narcissist's internal world is a display of desperate emptiness. When the empath is fully healed and detached, the narcissist loses their primary power source. They are forced to face the monstrosity of their own psyche without a mirror to beautify it. This is narcissistic mortification. A psychic collapse exposes their true nature publicly. Their behavior grows reckless. Lies become sloppy. The mask turns transparent. They choke on the residue of their failures, pulling oxygen from a vacuum as pressure crushes their fragile ego. Social consequences arrive swiftly and openly. As the recovered empath moves forward with icy clarity, the smear campaign disintegrates. Truth carries weight. Patterns become visible. Enablers drift away as the decay reveals itself. The narcissist is left stranded in the social wasteland they once prepared for you. The irony is flawless. They are now the devalued one. They are labeled toxic. They are trapped inside a reputation they cannot edit. The truth cages the monster, and everyone sees the bars. Blands. The narcissist's internal panic becomes a constant scream for supply that no longer exists. They search for you in every person they exploit, but no one can reflect the God image you once provided. They hunger for the empathy they discarded. They realize they destroyed the source. This is not love, it is starvation. They resent your happiness without their consent. Every smile you carry wounds their insecurity. They are imprisoned in unfinished destruction. The void keeps expanding with no one left to fill it. They are drowning in emptiness. Observe their new supply. It is bleak. They appear aged, dulled, diminished. The energy they stole from you has expired, and they possess no internal engine to replace it. They are condemned to repeat the cycle with weaker and weaker sources until the end. They are trapped in a low-budget rerun of their own life, haunted by the one who escaped and found the light. Your untouchability obsesses them. Their rage implodes, consuming what remains of their humanity. They are a malfunctioning machine running dry, waiting for an ignition that never comes. The tone now is clinical and merciless. The narcissist is a parasite that misjudged its host. By reclaiming your body and soul, you have neutralized the predator. They move through the world carrying the corpse of their ego. They despise you for surviving their sexual warfare. They despise you for being whole in a world they claimed would destroy you. Every breath of peace you take poisons their illusion. They are collapsing inward toward absolute nothingness. The final discard was yours, and it was fatal. The trauma bond has been terminated permanently. Panic drives obsessive surveillance of your success. They study your victories, hunting for weakness or return, and find only strength. This strength shatters their God fantasy. It exposes them as a brief malfunction in your evolution. They howl from the shadows, casting spells your nervous system no longer interprets. They are obsolete. Obsolescence is their final punishment. They wanted immortality. They will be forgotten as an error. You are the future. They are debris. The social discard ends in total isolation. The enablers awaken. Family steps back. The narcissist is left alone with the echo of the one they failed to destroy. This solitude is the mirror they feared all along. In the silence, they hear their own lies reverberate. They fixate on you because you are the only thing that ever felt real. But you are a memory beyond their control. They reach for air where you once existed. They are nothing now, a hollow vibration in an empty room. The collapse is finished. This mercilessly honest analysis makes one thing clear. The narcissist failed because they misjudged the endurance of the human spirit. They believed they could starve the empath's morality, but instead, they forced a period of dormancy where strength multiplied. Once you awaken and extend forgiveness to yourself, you become unreachable to manipulation. The narcissist is a shadow that cannot survive in the presence of embodied truth. They are breaking apart. What looked like acting out was your incubation, and you have emerged renewed. You transmuted trauma into life force. The narcissist is static. You are the song. Now the collapse deepens. You observe their unraveling with a sense of sacred balance. There is no desire for revenge, only alignment. You recognize the world is safe because you command your own biological energy. Their rage fades into distant static that no longer spikes your adrenaline. You are healing faster than they ever could. You are living at depths they will never access. This collapse seals the final chapter of the sexual narrative. The monster is gone and the sanctuary is still. The ending is harsh, accurate, and absolute. You have reclaimed the temple from those who defiled it. As the final truth arrives, you look at the wreckage of the abuser and realize you are the truth itself. The deviance was merely a trial of your spirit. You found the key. You opened the door. You stepped into the world and your spirit welcomed you home. The final truth is cinematic, empowering, and radiant. The collapse is complete. The sunrise is spiritual. You are free to create a reality where predators exist only as distant phantoms. You survived the extraction. You protected the light. You are sovereign. We have reached the final truth, the closing scene where the hooks of the past melt under the heat of your presence. This is the truth. Your acting out was never your nature. It was the shadow cast by the predator across your soul. Today, the sun has risen, and that shadow has nowhere left to exist. You now understand you are the ruler of your own domain. You do not need permission to be clean, whole, or sacred. You are sovereign. The deviance was the last winter, before a lasting spring. You outlived the parasite, and your inner world is flowering with truth. Call it. Emotional closure arrives with the certainty that the narcissist could never possess your spirit unless you sign the contract of shame. Today, you tear that contract apart and burn the remnants. You close the case file on the predator. You see now that every demand they made was a confession of their emptiness. You are moving forward. You are evolving. You no longer seek healing from predators. You heal yourself through your ability to feel, to forgive, and to stand again. The verdict is complete independence. You are the judge, the jury, and the free individual. Healing is a cinematic, slow burn of spiritual return. It is the sensation of light reaching the deepest parts of your being, the rhythm of conscience beating steadily, and the vision of a future that is open and uncorrupted. You are retraining your biology to expect safety. You are learning that empathy is a sacred strength, not a flaw. You rediscover your soul in stillness. You are constructing a life so real and full that the memory of the narcissist feels like a low-budget film watched in another lifetime. You govern your own destiny, and the sky is clear. Empowerment is the quiet power of the empath who refused to remain defined by the predator. You stared into the abyss and returned with fire. You are unmovable. The screams from the shadows are now background noise in the orchestra of your life. You changed the frequency. You are attuned to the universe, to the earth's pulse, and to the truth of your worth. You reclaimed your power and are using it to heal the space around you. You are a warrior of light, armored in truth. The final line is being written in the illumination of your new reality. You are part of a global awakening of sovereign empaths, reclaiming their place in the world. We are collective strength. We are spiritually unbreakable. The narcissist's fixation on your body was the last gasp of a dying parasite. The era of the predator is closing. The age of authenticity has begun. You are a pioneer of the soul. Your voice is a signal for those still lost in shadow, waiting to remember themselves. You are calling them forward. The age of the host is finished. Picture the final scene. You stand on a mountain at dawn. Wind moves through your spirit, stripping away the final residue of the abuser's darkness. Below, the valley of the narcissistic trap dissolves in morning light. Above, the sky ignites with colors you can finally see without distortion. You are whole. You are complete. You are indifferent. The narcissist is a name barely remembered, a face unrecognizable in a crowd. You inhale the clean air of freedom and never turn back toward the cage. The narcissist is now a distant ghost, haunting the ruins of a psyche they tried to destroy but only strengthened. They scream into the wind, pleading for dust to become a host again. But dust remains dust. You are flesh and fire, moving at the velocity of joy. You found your people. You found your calm. You found your soul. The survivor's acting out was the chrysalis of transformation. The credits roll. The theater empties. The light remains. You are the masterpiece. This is the final delivery of truth. The narcissist tried to extinguish the empath's morality because they feared what would happen if the soul awakened and became sovereign. They wanted you enslaved internally, but the captive rose as a king. You are magnificent. You are unstoppable. You won by leaving the game and taking the power with you. You transcended manipulation. You are truth. You are the path. You are life itself. The deviance was the predator's fog, and you became the sun that burned it away. Reclaim your space. Reclaim your voice. Reclaim your right to exist with dignity and confidence. The sexual predator, the psychological parasite, and the emotional arsonist hold no authority in the presence of your light. You generate your own frequency now, one of freedom, justice, and radiance. Use it to warm your life. Use it to create beauty from what burned. Use it to love deeply with those who resonate at your level of truth. You are a source of universal light. The grid is restored. The connection is real at last. Mon, they pushed you into darkness to break you, but instead revealed that an empath's soul is forged from the very light that melts chains of shame. Go forward and live with the intensity that always belonged to you. The performance is finished. The mask is broken. You are finally and forever free.